I bow to all the seekers of truth. As you are seekers of truth, whatever one may tell you, you should not accept it to begin with. People can claim anything, but that doesn't mean that you must believe into it. But one must know that truth is what it is. We cannot organize it, we cannot maneuver it, we cannot create it. It is, and it was, and it will be. And I told you yesterday what is the truth. And the truth is that you are the spirit. You are not this body, you are not this conditionings, your ego, your emotions. You are the spirit. This is one thing. And then there is a subtle power, living power, power of God's love. That does all the living work. All the evolutionary work, all the creation, and all the comforting and joyous things, which we do not feel, about which people have talked in every scripture. Like in the Bible, it says the all-pervading power of God, or in Quran they call it Budram. In Sanskrit language, it is called as Param Chaitanya. In every religion, in every scripture which is sensible, is written about it. So the first thing one has to do is to feel that power. Unless and until you can feel that power, you cannot understand any religion nor the people who came as incarnations or as prophets or as saints. And that is the reason why all the saints had to suffer, all the incarnations had to suffer, because the people in general never knew there is a subtle power of God's love. As we say there is God the Father, God the Son, there has to be God the Mother. In every religion except for Christianity, they have openly talked about this primordial mother. Even the Greeks knew about it, Babylonians knew about it. I was surprised that even in South America, there was a very big awakening about it. And they used to worship the Mother God. But somehow in Christianity, I think it was Paul, who was a Roman to begin with, and a tyrannical officer who even killed a disciple of Christ, Stephen. He is the one who changed the complete picture of Christianity. He never knew Christ. He was epileptic and a very hot-tempered man. And even he fought with Matthews because he could not accept the Immaculate Conception of Christ. A person who is not even realized, who has led such a tyrannical life. Why did he come to Christianity? He came to Christianity because he thought it was a very good platform for him to jump onto. I face that in Sahaja Yoga also. There are people in Sahaja Yoga who come and they just sometimes think that such a big worldly affair they can handle, so they try to rule and they try to take to power. They do not even feel the vibrations, they don't even feel the all-pervading power. But they think it's a good platform to occupy. And this Mr. Paul was again born as Augustine. And he did even much worse for Christianity. My father, who was a very learned man, I asked him, I said, who is this Paul? And how is he there? So he told me, I don't understand, he's a stranger. And then I asked why Martin Luther, of all the things, did not describe the mother. He said it was true that Martin Luther was a realized soul and he wanted to deviate from Catholicism. But he thought at that time to talk about the mother would not appeal to many people who were Islamic. So to convert them to Christianity would be difficult. This was little expediency, I think. They did not refer to the mother. So they called it a Holy Ghost. It's a funny thing to call, I tell you, really. And then to call it a dove. That's also I can't understand. A symbol. All the time you find a dove everywhere. But in so many paintings I have seen people putting their hands like this, who are the disciples of Christ, and I see the light coming out of their heads. We have photographs, very miraculous photographs, but of Sahaja Yogis, all of them are sitting like you, and on their head there is light. But all these things took such a form, such an organization. Even a person like Khalil Gibran has talked in complete chapter about Paul, denouncing him completely. Nobody took heed of it. He was an organizer and a power-oriented gentleman, wanted to have a big power and his place in the Bible. How does he come in the Bible? I mean, he has nothing to do with the Bible. And even in the churches they read what he has said, an epileptic fellow. You'll find out in Sahaja Yoga that epilepsy is caused by possession. And if the possession is removed, you can cure epilepsy. In Russia, we have been able to cure epilepsy of so many people. Of course, medicine doesn't have this cure. I myself studied medicine and I know the limitations of medicine. It deals just with the outward symptoms of human beings. It's like a tree which is sick, so you try to look after the leaves and give medicines to the leaves. How can you cure the tree? You have to go to the roots. And to go to the roots, you have to become a subtler personality. If you can reach the roots, then the whole tree can be nourished. Now this is the knowledge of the roots, while what we see outside is the knowledge of the tree. If the tree grows much more in proportion to the root, then you know what can happen, and that's what today we are afraid of, that we might be completely destroyed. We are on the brink of some sort of a horrible shock that's going to come to us. It seems there is a tremendous fear in the minds of people here. Apart from the simple nature of Americans, they are also very much frightened. And whatever comes in their way, they grow. They try to get hold of it. This is another problem you are facing. There is nothing to be afraid of. This world is not going to be destroyed. The Creator who has created you is the Father of all the fathers and kindest of all the kindest. He cannot allow his creation to be destroyed. So don't believe these money makers who are telling you that this world is going to be destroyed. That problem of war is over now, thanks to Gorbachev. The other ecological problems also can be solved if you people get your realization. It's a very simple thing to solve the problem. But if you start getting at everything without thinking, without discrimination, then definitely America could be destroyed. And if there is any country that will be destroyed first, will be America, not from without, from within. That's why I'm so concerned that you should take some heed, must pay some attention to this aspect, what is missing in us. Think of your children and think of the progeny, and think of your country. Where are we going? And then you'll realize you have failed in one point, that you have not turned to your roots. You have not tried to find out what your roots are. It's useless to say that this country is only 200-year-old. Country may be 200-year-old, but you are not. You are antiques, I would say. You were born so many times before, in so many countries, and you've been seekers. You are seekers and seekers. In ages you have been growing in that seeking. And today you are here to seek. But only thing what you have lost in this seeking is the discrimination. And that's why I say, whatever one may say, even if I say something you need not believe, please don't. Blind faith is not going to help you to get your realization. Neither you are denying it. You have to have an open mind, as I told you. Like a scientist, you must see this hypothesis, if it is there, if it works, then please, as honest people, you must accept it. There is no secret in Sahaja Yoga, no secret. My life is not a secret. Nothing is a secret. Everybody knows what's happening in Sahaja Yoga. So, first of all, I have to tell you that you keep your minds open. When I have to tell you about this machinery that is within us created because of our evolution. And as you see there are 7 centers which are placed in the central line. And there are 2 lines on both the sides, left and right. Out of these, the first center is below the Kundalini, which is in the triangular bone, known as sacrum. Sacrum means sacred. And Greek museum people told me that Greek considered this bone as a sacred bone. So in this resides this power, which we call as Kundalini in Sanskrit language. Now, this Kundalini is coiled, and a coil is called as Kundal. That's why it's called as Kundalini. Now, it's a female. It's a power which is female and is the reflection of the primordial mother in you. In Sanskrit called as Adishakti. Of course, India knew about it thousands of years back, no doubt. No doubt. 14,000 years back, they say. I don't know if the English would accept that we were that old or not, but it is said so. People have written about it. This power rises. 6 centered it penetrates, and the 7th one is at the base of it. Now the 7th one looks after your excretion, or if you are doctors, you'll understand it also looks after the pelvic plexus. So also the sex is looked after by this. So it is clear cut that in your ascent, sex plays no part. That's why Christ has said that you have to be like small children to ascend. Actually, when Kundalini rises, your attention is no more on sex. All your excretionary functions stop completely. So now here Mr. Freud, or later on you can say Rasputin, or then Rajneesh, all those who talk of sex being the power of Kundalini are absolutely wrong. And then how is it then Christ has said he corrected the 10 commandments. Out of that, he said, thou shalt not have adulterous eyes. Eyes. Such a subtle point he said. Why he said that? In America now, when I come here, I see everybody has eyes like this all the time. They don't have steady eyes at all. They are Christians, followers of Christ. And sometimes surprises. In the beginning, you see, one gets a cultural shock to see, what is this? What are they looking at? What are they looking at? It's a joyless pursuit. Everyone knows, but the eyes have become like that because they have lost their innocence. But for your information, innocence is never lost, never lost. Only it gets conditioned or clouded. That's all. But it is never lost. I have seen now in my work that everyone, whether they were English or they were Greeks or they were Americans, anybody who gets their awakening gets a steady eye and an innocent eye. And these eyes could be so powerful that even attention of these eyes or even a glance of these eyes can transform, can comfort, can redeem. And that's why Christ has said it. But actually, the deity of innocence resides there at the 7th center. He incarnates as Christ at the 6th center here, between the optic chiasma, which is giving energy to our eyes. The essence of Bible can only be understood if you are a realized soul. And you can read between the lines. Though I must say that this Mr. Paul has tried to destroy a lot of it. Whatever he might have tried, there are so many truths still there in the Bible. And we can see them so clearly, we can feel them, we can understand them. I mean, for example, once you are a realized soul, a Hindu might say, because I was born in a Christian family, he would say, why did you take your birth in Christian family? You believe in Christ? I said, of course. So I'll just say, all right, you ask a question like this. Put hand towards me and ask a question. Probably mother. Mother, was Christ the Son of God? And he gets cool breeze on his hand. Tremendous cool breeze. And he's surprised. Then we have the first center, which is, I told you, is of sex. And sex has nothing to do with your assent. Only the human beings can get their realization, not animals. They too have sex. But that does not mean that sex, there's something wrong. It's one of the functions of the body, is an important function, but it has nothing to do with divine work. As you go to bathroom, you have sex. That's all. So much accent of sex is given. I am surprised. Despite that, you have minus population. While in India, we never talk of sex. I mean, this word sex I could not pronounce when I came to London first, because we don't say this word. It's regarded, it spoils your tongue. To say sex also with your tongue was something impure. But then I practiced a little bit. But I was very bashful while saying that. So, it is not necessary to put such an accent and to have a mental thinking about it. Because if you do it mentally too much, then you are definitely either you'll go to one extreme, become rapists and things like that. And on the other side, you might become impotent. One of the two things will happen. I mean, in India, we have seldom heard stories of rape and all that. Seldom. And we never think of, I mean, I'm telling not about the westernized Indians, but about villagers, where an 80-year-old woman, grandmother, writing love letters to an 18-year-old grandson. I mean, if you tell somebody, they'll think that I'm just befooling them. It's impossible. So whatever were natural barriers are finished by our so-called freedom, which is actually abandonment. But after Sahaja Yoga, I don't have to tell you anything. You just become righteous. You just become righteous. I don't have to tell you. Like people who took drugs came to Sahaja Yoga, and I must say English are that way. Something deep about them also. Overnight they gave up their drugs. Overnight. I didn't tell them. I never told them. I never even talked about the drugs. Alcoholism. There's one doctor who was such an alcoholic. He was out of job, he was on dole. And today he's running 7 hospitals in London. Overnight. What has happened actually? That supposing you're holding on to a snake and it's darkness. And if I say there's a snake in your hand, you'll say, no, it's not, it's a rope. How can you argue with the person till the snake bites? So you put on the light. With the light, you throw it away yourself. Don't have to tell anything. Don't have to argue. So the spirit is enlightened. Your attention is enlightened with the light of the spirit, and you see what's wrong. What's wrong with you? What are you holding on to? And you just Give it up. And you become so powerful to give up any habit. It's so easy. So easy for you to give up. Overnight I have seen people have given up all their bad habits, which are really destructive. These are all destructive habits. Whether you like it or not, but they are destructive. Let us face it. But you lose your willpower using those habits. As a result, you cannot give it up. It's a helpless condition. No use forcing, no use giving lecturing, no use making a martyrdom out of it. Nothing. Just get to yourself, and your light of yourself will show you how powerful you are, how great you are, what is your glory, what is your identity. And then you are surprised because you are connected with that divine power, and the power starts flowing through. And you are surprised how your life is changed and how you have become a medium for God. Once, as of course coming to America, I was coming by ship, and our captain told me that we are sending an SOS for a person who has got pneumonia. I said, I'll go and cure that person, but you see, I was the wife of the owner, so they wouldn't allow me to go down. I said, all right, you have got realization, you just go and touch that man. That's all. He went down and put his hand on his lungs. I told him that ask him to stop his breathing thrice. His pneumonia was cured. He was so amazed, he came up, he said, how could I do it? I said, because it's flowing through you. Even supposing an ordinary man gets the kingdom and he's asked to sit on the throne, he looks this side, that side, whether I should sit or not. In the same way, though you achieve a position, such a high status, you are a little frightened to occupy and to accept that position. But I have seen people who have not realized souls, who do not know anything about divinity. Their lives are full of falsehood. They are very bad character people. They become big gurus shamelessly. They claim such big things. They have no fear of God. They have no fear of anything. So what? If I have to go tomorrow to jail, doesn't matter. I'll have so much money with me. But a Sahaja yogi is very humble. He keeps to himself. He is very contented. And he doesn't change his outward dress, or he doesn't put on some sort of a funny dress up. But he's normal, just like as you are. He doesn't do anything abnormal. I think the Sahaja yogis become the most normal people. But you'll be surprised. Those who have seen them say that these are angels. These are not human beings, these are angels. So this transformation takes place as this Kundalini rises in our centers. So the first center, according to real, where the Kundalini enters, is the second one which you see as the yellow one. Now this is the center which is responsible for our creativity. I have seen many artists in India who are extremely anxious to play before me. And once they have played before me or twice, they become world's famous artists. So many of them will tell you about it. Now, so they want to take my photograph and put it there to show to people that I am their guru. I said nothing to you. I am not your guru. I have not taught you music. Only thing is, your Kundalini has risen. I have nothing to do with it. You had your technique with you. Only thing, because your Kundalini has risen, you have become so dynamic and you are expressing yourself without any fear, without any inhibition. Simple thing as that. But this center we use too much, especially in the West, when we think too much. And when we think too much, we use the energy of this center, because this center is responsible for converting fat cells into gray cells for the use of the brain. So when you think too much, then it gets entangled or it gets busy with this only one function, while it has to do many other functions. Like it has to look after your liver, it has to look after your pancreas, it has to look after your spleen, it has to look after your intestines and also your kidneys. So a person who thinks too much, plans too much, who is futuristic, such a person gets a bad liver. And when you get a bad liver, means an overactive liver, the function of liver is to absorb the heat, which is a poison in us, and to release it into the bloodstream becomes impossible. So the heat starts rising. Your lungs collapse with the heat. You get asthma. It rises higher, you might get a massive heart attack. It goes low down, then you get constipation. It can coagulate your kidneys, you get your kidney trouble, you cannot pass urine. Only one liver can bring all these problems. Then the second thing that is affected by overthinking is your pancreas, by which you get diabetes. Now in India, in the village if you go, even in Nepal, they take sugar as much that the spoon must stand at right angle. So much sugar they must take. They never get diabetes. Never. They don't know what diabetes. Because they work the whole day, in the night they sleep off. Again next day they get up, work the whole day. They don't think. Same with their wives, they also don't think. Because same way they work in the daytime and sleep in the night. But too much spare time when we have, we start thinking. They do not future plan so much. Whatever comes their way, they arrange it, organize it, and live with it. So this diabetes is a special disease of the people who are planners, who are futuristic, who think too much, and who worry too much. And it's a vicious circle. Once you get diabetes, you worry too much. So you get more diabetes. Then comes the third disease, which is much more dangerous and very common in America. Comes from the spleen. Spleen also is to be looked after by the same center, which we call as Swadhisthana. Now, the spleen part, the role of spleen in our body is very important because it keeps our rhythm. It's for the rhythm of the body, rhythm with the nature. Now, our life is so hectic. Now, it has to produce red blood corpuscles according to certain rhythm. But we have no rhythm. Any emergency that comes in, it has to produce red blood corpuscles. But since early in the morning we read the newspaper, this is the worst curse I think for spleen. So you get a shock. So many killed. I mean, they will never give a good news. Never. Out of question. Because they have to give sensations to you, see, shocks. So they'll give horrible news by which your spleen will start pulsating, giving you more RBCs. Then you get into your car without taking your breakfast. Breakfast is in your hand, you're eating something, driving, because you're getting late. We are time bound. On the way, we find all the road jammed, then we get again upset, how are we to reach? Then we go to the office, we are slightly late, then the boss is shouting at you and you are in a mess. All these things build up a tension as we call it, but it's nothing but ordinary, unrhythmic, hectic life of our that gives us. Actually, the life should be such that you start your office at 11 o'clock, better is. And you sit down with your wife, have your food in a rhythmic way. And in the daytime, you must have siesta. If Americans have their siesta in the daytime, all their tensions will disappear. Because in the daytime all the deities sleep. All the deities who are on the centers, they sleep. So if you can have a siesta, even for half an hour, I tell you, your tensions will disappear. On the contrary, the pressure mounts on with the work. This is to be done, that is to be done, rush. I mean, the Americans never used to speak so fast, I tell you. Nowadays, you can't follow any news, you can't follow what they speak. I mean, it's impossible because the words go like telescope into one each other. And the whole life is so made that you feel that they are all under some sort of a earthquake shock or something. Everybody is running helter skelter. This, that. You go to a shop, you go. Really, if you see, everybody is having a rat race. On the road, anywhere. This is the curse of the modern times, but also the blessing of modern times is Sahaja. That's why there is. Because all these problems have come up. That is why now we have this blessing of Sahaja also. So what happens that when this poor spleen becomes unrhythmic and crazy, then any shock from the left side can manifest a very serious disease called as blood cancer. Now this blood cancer has been definitely cured by your Kundalini awakening. I don't cure because if I say that, the government will arrest me. So I would say your Kundalini cures this blood cancer. And there are many who have been cured of blood cancer. Then the third problem is of high blood pressure, comes from the kidney. The kidney also coagulates. To begin with, it is in such a small dimension that you don't feel it, but because of that, the pressure rises. Then it stops functioning because it coagulates. This also is absolutely curable through the awakening of your Kundalini. Then the last is the constipation. I mean, I've seen in Switzerland, people eat something that we give it to buffaloes in India. I mean, we cannot think of eating that. I was shocked. I said, how can you eat these cotton seeds? He said, that's very good for roughage. But I said, what this roughage? Tomorrow you'll start eating wood or what? Why do you need so much roughage? Because of this problem. So nothing seems to be normal for people who think too much. And the another side is where they don't think at all, absolutely lethargic organs also. So there are two types of human beings, one on the right side, one on the left side. Those who are sitting and crying and weeping about their past, I had a very nice time and now it's horrid, I had very good parents and now a horrid husband, sort of thing goes on and on and on. At that time they become left-sided. So we have two types of people, one who are thinking of the future and those who are thinking of the past. Both the sides are nourished or looked after by what we call the left and right sympathetic nervous system. The left looks after the left side and the right looks after the right side. But if we somehow or other get into the center, then we do not suffer from any one of these troubles. Our attention is, say, like the sari, I'll show you. Like this it moves up and it pulls all our attention in the center through the Kundalini till it pierces through the seventh center. And then we are in the center. Once we come in the center, we are absolutely there where we are in moderation. We know how far to go with everything and we lead a very peaceful, nice life. We accept the life with great joy as it is. We don't hanker. We have no greed left. There's no lust left, but we enjoy the sex life we have in a sane way. We enjoy all the material things on the in the best way possible. For example, now see, this is a carpet lying down here. When I watch this, it's so beautiful. But when I watch this and start thinking about it now, how much it must have cost. Of course, if it belongs to me, then it's a headache because already I will start seeing if there are any spots, whether it is insured or not. And if somebody has spoiled it. But supposing it doesn't belong to me, thank God if that's so. Then also I'll think how much it must have cost. I might feel jealous. Oh, I should have one like this. I don't have. From what shop the lady must have bought it. I must go there and get it. All these thoughts will be coming into my head. Not the beauty of the carpet. But when this Kundalini rises and crosses over this center of Christ, then your thoughts become quiet. You become a personality which we call as in the status of thoughtless awareness, where you are aware but no thought. Because we think of the future and we think of the past, but we cannot be in the present. But in thoughtless awareness, we are in present. There's no thought. And then the whole thing, that is the beauty that was created by the Creator, the joy that was put into it starts pouring onto you. And you start enjoying. Just enjoying, not thinking about it. Just seeing, not saying anything. No reaction. Just watching. And the whole of it just pours down. So this is the state when it comes to your thinking becomes limited, and then your Swadhisthana chakra gets settled down. It gets also nourished by Kundalini. And that is how most of your problems are solved, because every center, when it goes out of order, it creates the so-called human problems. But Kundalini rising means it integrates all of them. Once you are a realized soul, your mind won't argue with your heart, with your liver, your brain, but in a very integrated manner, you'll enjoy everything. You become a witness to a drama. Like there's a drama going on, you watch the drama and you are involved into it. But once the drama is over, then you say, oh, I'm here, I'm just a spectator, I'm not in the drama. In the same way, the whole thing becomes like a drama and you are away from it. Your problems are like waves. They rise and fall. But once you are in the boat, you can see them clearly and you can solve them. But in case you know how to swim, you can jump in and save others from drowning. This is the third stage where you have to rise. In that stage, we call it as the doubtless awareness, is called as Nirvikalpa Samadhi. They talk of yoga, this thing, Hatha Yoga and all that. What is Hatha Yoga? Ashtangas, there are eightfold things, out of which this exercises is just a wee bit. And that too is to be applied only when the Kundalini rises, when there is a problem. But here the way we take this Hatha Yoga is something like a medicine box. The whole of that, without paying any attention to our spirit, is for the spiritual growth, not for physical. Because if you see the book of Patanjali, which is so big as that, there he has discussed only what I am telling you today, and not these things that you stand on your head or you walk like this or you jog like that. These things come up as a craze, and we are very vulnerable to all these things. But if you just look back, you will see this is all entrepreneurs' stuff. They are just trying to befool us. Not only the gurus, but also the entrepreneurs. They are trying to befool us. They tell us now, you must jog, because then you must have jogging suits, you must have jogging shoes, you must have jogging this and jogging that, and you pay for it. All the time they are suggesting, this is the fashion now. Start a fashion with the tight pants now, then they develop varicose veins, now so loose pants. It's just a way of befooling simple, good people, taking advantage of them. And we are slaves. But all these things finish off once you get your realization, you understand these things very well, and you know these crooks, and you don't play into their hands. There's no need. There's no need to go on wasting your energy in changing your dresses, changing everything morning till evening, and making a heap of plastic which cannot be burnt, which cannot be done. You become really sensible, wise, righteous, beautiful, dynamic, compassionate people in the real sense of the word. And your priorities become so sensible that you are amazed at yourself, how have I become like this? Then we have artists, we have painters, we have all kinds of people in Sahaja who have really prospered in their own profession. Doctors have prospered in their own profession. But they are extremely humble, compassionate, sensible, and they are spirit oriented, not money oriented. And then the money flows. You don't have to worry about money. Once you are spirit oriented, money is at your feet, knowledge is at your feet, everything at your feet. Because you are blessed, we have lost the faith in the blessings of God because we are away from Him. But in His kingdom, you'll be surprised how it works. It's miraculous. It's miraculous. Every small little need is looked after. And at every small point, you see the hand of the divine trying to help you. That you see yourself. I told them that you better write about the miracles of Sahaja. When they wrote it, it's so big as that, a pile. I said, forget it. How are we going to publish this? And that is what just going to happen. That's what you deserve. After all, you are human beings. Those people who tell you you are sinners and all that, please know that they must be the greatest sinners ever born. Don't believe all that. You are human beings, after all. Only human beings can make mistakes. You are not gods. So if you have made some mistakes, why do they want you to feel guilty? If you feel guilty, you spoil this center here and you get horrible problems of angina, or you might get also spondylitis, so many troubles with this guilt business. So please remember that you are a human being and you have every right to be united with that divine power, and that is what Sahaja Yoga is. Sa means with, Ja is born with you, is the right to this. Yoga means the union with the divine. Yoga doesn't mean standing on your heads. It doesn't mean anything. If any person who talks of yoga and doesn't give you realization, don't go near that person. Yesterday I told you, first thing, nobody can take money from you. Of course, for this all, they have paid. The Sahajogis have paid, I must say. But we were just now thinking that last 4 years, they have started paying, otherwise I used to pay. My husband used to pay for everything. But then they said, you should not pay for our salvation, mother, that's too much. Now they have started paying for it. But not for your realization. Not to me, but to this all right. Doesn't matter. And everything, the accounts and everything should be clear cut. You should see where your money goes, what it happens, what it works. Who is handling the money? Then you have to see if they give you realization or not. Realization means you must feel the cool breeze of the Holy Ghost. Realization means that you should have powers to raise the Kundalini of others. Realization means that you feel the actualization of the baptism, the cool breeze coming out of your head. Not any priest putting water on your head and saying that you are now a Christian. Unless and until these things happen to you, don't accept anyone. Even me. This is what one has to understand. You have to become something. And the time is there. It's being announced. This time has to come. The time has come, and where are the people? That I should find those people in Russia. I was really surprised, who never had heard about God, had never heard about anything about spirit. They were not supposed to talk about it. And there you have thousands. How is it? Thousands. This hall, we had a hall at least 10 times bigger than this, was all completely full, and the same amount of people were sitting outside. They had never known me, they had never seen my face, nothing, only with the photographs. Were so sensitive. Also Italians, I must say. Italians have that sensibility. And Greeks. Why not the Americans? You must research it out. You have such a capacity to do research. For everything you do research. For your car you do research. For your sofa set you do research. For even shoes they said they have researched it and made it comfortable. Then why not research and find out? At least have that scientific attitude and try to solve the problems that you have. You all can do it. I know you're very capable to do it. Those who become Sahajogis, Americans, are great people. But first of all, it's impossible to make them stick to one thing. As they change their cars, change their houses, change their motor cars, they go on changing also their gurus. You see, it's like a guru shopping going on. Actually, you see, I also belong to another kind of a society, so-called elite society. And I just keep quiet. I never say a word there because I'm absolutely useless. And what they talk like this, oh, have you been to this guru recently? You know, there's a lady, she comes with a band and she has those laser beams and things like that. She's very expensive, but very good. Very expensive. But she can give you a little bargain. If you bargain with her, she might. Or somebody is for sale. Can you imagine? God does not know money, does he? We sold Christ. Did we pay anything to Christ? At least the Christians should not pay. Oh, of course, Hindus never paid anything to Rama, Krishna, nothing. Of course, it is there. But this one test you must put. And then the second one, that you have to get something yourself. You must get something, and that is your self-realization, not craziness that on the streets and Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama. What is this? Anybody can do it. In India, everybody does that. Wearing such dresses, what is so difficult? Also in the supermarket, you get that thing just to put it on your head. It's ridiculous. If you ask any sensible man in India to do that, he said, am I mad? Why will I do it? Also cut your hair this way or to wear some nonsensical dress. What is so great about it? What is so great? Anybody can do it. Or some people start jumping and saying all kinds of things, and they said that now we have got the language, we are speaking some other language. Mad people. I mean, if you are near God, you have to become a much more sensible, wise, sane people, isn't it? You have seen the saints, you have seen Zen people, you have seen all of them. How sensible they were when they met. All kinds of craziness is associated with God. I can't understand that. Now be wise and discriminating and try to understand. It is through you people only it's going to work out. I had asked you to ask me some questions. In this 1 or 2 days, I'm sorry, I can't tell you everything about Sahaja. But they will give you books and everything. You can read them. You will understand about everything about chakras. They are quite experts. They'll all tell you about it. Now, say there are so many lights here. When you come in, I'll have to just say, all right, put on that switch, and all of them will come up. But if I have to tell you all the history and everything about electricity, and then where it is stored and how it has come, you will be bored stiff. Best thing is to have the light first, and then we'll talk about it. So if you are hungry, I've done the cooking, I would say, better have it. And then we'll discuss it and talk about it, and there are thousands and thousands of my lectures which you can listen to, and you can know a lot. You can become all experts. You can all become big gurus, no doubt about it. You'll become your own gurus. I promise you will become your own gurus, because you are meant to be that. You don't need any guru. Your spirit is your guru, and that will guide you. It's like if you take a television from America and show it to the Indians in a village and say that in this box you can see the films coming from all over the world, they'll say, what, telling lies? How can this box give us this? But you put to the mains. In the same way, you are put to the mains. And then you'll see how fantastic you are. All your fears, all your problems will just dissolve. But you must penetrate into it deeper and deeper. Like we had 3-4 people whom I gave realization, and next day they went and did all kinds of nonsensical things, and now they have got AIDS. What can I do? 4-5 years back, I gave them realization nicely. They never settled down. Went to some other gurus and some places and all that, and they got AIDS now. They are now suffering from AIDS. Of course, they can be cured, but not in America. How can I cure them? I'll be again arrested. This is the problem. So you have to get into it deeply and to understand it and to become masters. You don't have to pay for it again and again, I'm saying. Only thing, you have to give some time. And we have so much time otherwise. These watches are with us because we should save time. We save time for wasting. We have to save time for our ascent. Not much. 5 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes in the evening is sufficient. And every week, once a week, you have to come to the center. Then you will not give up. After some time, the greatest punishment for Sahaja is that you have to go out of Sahaja. That is the greatest punishment. There's no compulsion in Sahaja. If you want to go away, you can go away. But sometimes you have to ask them to get out. Some of them have to get out, and they feel very sad about it. But then they correct themselves, purify themselves, again come back. But the movement in America is the least, much less than even South America. Much, much less. So I have to request you now in San Diego. Last time also, first time I came to San Diego. So again, I request you all that you, because you belong to the city of gods, so you have to take up the responsibility and work it out here. So may God bless you. Thank you very much. Now, of course, I would like to